What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Robbie Barnby, and today I'm going to show you how you can take a common sound like this and turn it into something like this. So the sound we're talking about is the minor blues scale. This is a really common sound that gets used a lot and is often one of the first sounds taught to beginners. This is because it's already a very musical sounding scale, which makes it quite easy to start improvising and creating your own lines with. However, because of this, it's easy to sound quite predictable and to get stuck in the same kind of lines when using it. So stick around and I'm going to show you some approaches to making the scale sound much more modern and unpredictable. So before we get into making the scale more of a modern sound, let's quickly review what the minor blues scale is. It's essentially a minor pentatonic scale with an added note, turning a 5-note pentatonic scale into a 6-note hexatonic scale. So the note which gets added to create this 6-note scale is a flat 5 or tritone interval. So if we think of this scale from an A root, we get A, C, D, E flat, E, and G, and then back to A again. So this is a really great and common sound which is a go-to for improvising and creating your own lines with. However, we can take it to another level because where it gets really interesting is when we start to harmonize it. So when harmonizing this scale, we're going to use the standard approach of stacking every other note. And we're not going to worry too much about the major and minor thirds concept here just because we're only using the specific notes from this specific 6-note scale. So if we look at this scale in the key of A again and harmonize it starting with the first note, we get the notes A, D and E. This gives us an A sus4 triad. Moving on to the next note with this same approach, by harmonizing it we get C, E flat and G. This now gives us a C minor triad. Next note, starting on D, we get D, E and A. So this is basically an A sus4 triad again, but from its first inversion. Next note, E flat, we get E flat, G and C. Again, this is now a C minor triad from its first inversion. So you've probably guessed it by now. Harmonizing this scale gives us two triads that alternate through their inversions. So A sus4, C minor, then A sus4, C minor, A sus4, C minor. So these two sounds are already something that probably a lot of people don't think about when playing their standard minor blues language. But by using these two triads, it can give us a new approach to bringing out the sound of the minor blues scale in a much more unexpected and modern way. Alright, so here's what these two triads sound like on the guitar. So this is now something we can expand on by taking this triad, and instead of voicing it in closed position, we can experiment with voicing it as a spread triad. Alright, so the way we construct a spread triad is by taking a closed position triad and moving the middle note up 1 octave. So if we look at A sus4, we have the notes A, D and E. So we would take the middle note, which is D, and move it up 1 octave. So we now have A, E and D. If we continue this onto our next triad, which is C minor, we have the notes C, E flat, G. So take the middle note, E flat, and move it up 1 octave. We now have C, G, E flat. So continuing this again onto our next inversion of A sus4, we have D, E and A. Take the E, move up 1 octave, we now have D, A and E. So spread triads are actually a really beautiful sound and even just worth learning for major style harmony. But here's how it sounds on a minor blues scale. I should mention that the reason we only get two alternating triads when harmonizing this scale is because basically this scale contains an even amount of notes. This is the same for other scales that also contain an even amount of notes, such as the augmented scale, the diminished scales, and famously the Barry Harris 6th diminished scale, if you're familiar with that one. However, because those last two are 8-note scales instead of 6, you're going to want to harmonise them into 4-note chord voicings instead of just triads. Here are some patterns using these two triads to help you start getting this sound into your minor blues language. If you want to go deeper into more triad options, then it's definitely worth knowing the other triads within the scale. So the triad options for each note of the scale . With this, you can have a go at pairing different triads to bring out different sounds within the scale. Here's an example of some improvising using a mix of concepts, but focusing around some common minor blues language and some of these triadic ideas. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps inspire you to get some new ideas into your playing. I always find it's really fun to revisit old concepts and approach it from a different angle. But yeah, if you found the video useful, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you don't miss out on any new content. Cheers, guys. See you in the next one.